Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, going live, taking questions, giving answers. That's what we do on Stu Smith Live. I'm sitting here on YouTube and Facebook, as well as Instagram over here on my phone. So trying to get it all out there all at once. But first, I'm going to chat about, while people get on, I'm going to chat about a recent article I wrote. I actually wrote it last Monday, but I've been so busy the last week, I haven't done any other articles. I've been pumping out this latest book that was the 3-to-1 block periodization winter lift cycle we did. I've posted a couple articles on it, but it's finally out. It's up and moving. So I'll link it in the descriptions as well as other articles that I mentioned. But I wrote this article. And the reason why I did it is I get so many emails coming in from people saying, hey, I got this opinion, or I heard this from so-and-so, I heard this from so-and-so, what's the truth? And, you know, my recruiter's telling me this guy's telling me this. So it's basically information overload is what a lot of you guys are experiencing with being a spec ops candidate. You know, if that's your journey, there's a lot of information out there now, 10 times more than what it was when I was trying to do this at your age. Basically, if you knew somebody had been there, done that, you might get some information like, yeah, you need to run a lot, and you need to swim, you need to do some PT as well, and don't quit. So that was the kind of advice you got, which is true. You know, it's not a lie. It is a fact that you need to do all of those things, but you know, there was no specific guidelines on anything. And then you still have to remember, you know, a lot of the information you're receiving is opinion from maybe somebody who's been there, done that as well. And I will tell you, this is my opinion, blank. But I will also say, here's the reason why this is my opinion, because there's 25 years of fact and statistics written behind whatever I am about to give my opinion on. Because I've been doing this for a while, I've kind of seen the process. And yes, there are some pieces of opinion that will apply to you. There are some that will not. And that's what you really have to do when you are listening to all the information that you're getting. Does this really apply to me? Right? And does it not? And that's kind of difficult to do. So anyway, I wrote an article on it, and I go from everything from, hey, I'm 18 years old, or I got a college degree. Should I go officer or enlisted? That's a big opinion on many people's, you know, background. Depending on their background, they may say go one or the other. I say it's a personal decision. You should figure it out yourself. If you want to be a leader, you know, go officer. It's a longer route. It's a more challenging route. It's more competitive. They need about 10 times as many enlisted people as they do officer. So literally it is 10 times harder to go the officer route than it is the enlisted route. So it's up to you how, you know, how you want to address that process. You can go in as enlisted with a college degree and then get an officer slot 5-10 years later if you prefer. Many people do that. Still competitive, but many people do that. So we're getting a lot of questions. So if you're interested in the more details of that, I'll put the link to that article. But if you go to StuSmithFitness.com, click the either drop down menu on your phone or the articles link at the top banner, you will see it's my latest article, and it's about, you know, basically helping spec ops candidates determine fact from opinion, right? let's take a few questions. You guys are popping out some questions. And here's the deal. If I don't get to your question, one, I apologize. But two, just send it to me. You can DM it to me, or you can email me. Email me at stu@stewsmith.com. I will answer that. But if I don't get to it, I apologize. Hopefully, I'll be able to get to most of these, and we'll go from there. So let me see. I just saw one here. Someone asking about SFAS. I thought was a good one. Is the Complete Guide to Navy SEAL Fitness helpful for SFAS? So Special Forces Assessment and Selection. Yes and no. What I would do if I were going Army is I would pretty much take out all the swimming of the Navy SEAL fitness book and replace it with either more running or rucking a couple days a week. If you need more cardio and it's too much running, just add a bike or go swimming. I mean, there's just a lot of swimming. You're going to swim 6 days a week in the Navy SEAL fitness book, which you don't really need to spend that much time swimming. If you're going in the Army SF program, you need to spend more time running and rucking. Maybe add some lifts in there to build some durability. So two things. If you have that book and you want to use it, it has been done many times by people who've gone the Army route, but they've sent back and just said, yeah, I replaced all the swimming with more running and rucking. So there you go. I was wondering where your training is based. I am in Maryland, right outside of Annapolis. So we do a lot of training out here. Do it a whole bunch, actually. So here's one more question on Instagram, then I'll go over here to YouTube. Hey, Stu, I just started your PST workouts. I've seen so much progress. Okay, great. Thanks. If you got questions, send them. Comments, you can DM me specifically. How can I help the balance for slimmer guys of building muscle, becoming more durable with a lot of running and swimming? Well, that's what we do. In fact, that latest article or that latest program I just spent the last 4 months writing, it's called Increased Strength While Crushing the PST and PAS Tests. So basically, it helps you maintain your muscle stamina and endurance, running and swimming endurance, as well as build some strength on that. And the way it does it is it does it with a block periodization system. So you go 3 weeks of strength training, and you still maintain your calisthenics, with warm-ups with calisthenics and cool down with cardio just to maintain that. But you spend the meat of your workout lifting for 3 weeks. And then you move over to a week of PST calisthenics cardio focus. So it's considered kind of a modified deload of strength training, but you're still doing it's not a real deload. You're doing calisthenics and cardio. You're just changing elements of fitness. So instead of strength and power that you're focused on in the first 3 weeks, you're focused on endurance and muscle stamina. I just tested it out this winter for the first time, and it worked really well. So that is how we balance it. And now if you're slimmer and you're trying to put on weight and you're doing all this extra cardio, you have to eat big, because anytime you're running and swimming, you're probably going to burn another 500, 600, maybe more calories in that workout. So you need to add that every day just to maintain your weight. So consider how much calories you're burning when you're doing your cardio, and make sure you're answering that with good foods on the back end of the day. Otherwise, you will lose weight. All right. But you can gain weight during running cycles too. You just have to eat like a horse. All right. I've seen it happen. All right. So let's go over here to YouTube real quick. I can tread with a 10-pound brick for 2 minutes. Is that sufficient? It's okay. I mean, I would try to get it up to 10 minutes, to be honest with you. Basically, do this. When you go swimming, spend the first 10 minutes treading water as a warm-up. You can do it with 2 minutes a brick, 2 minutes without a brick, 2 minutes with a brick, 2 minutes without a brick. That's a good way to do it too. So practice treading. Now, if swimming's your weakness, I would focus on your swimming during that warm up and try to do a 500 yard, try to do your 500 yard swim on as a warm up. So you treat the 500 yard swim as a warm up. And because one day when you're taking the PST for real, you'll be able to say, hey, this 500 yard swim is just my warm up. That's very powerful whenever you are nervous taking your first PST in front of a SEAL mentor, someone in the pipeline. So use that as a little sports psychology there for you. Oh, okay. So that's what, anyway, you'll see my workouts. That's what we do. It's like swim 500 yards without fins, swim 2,000 with fins. That's a typical leg day swim workout. So you're always, every time you touch the water, you're either swimming 500 yards to warm up or you are treading 10 minutes to warm up. Either one. You can alternate every other day. Let's see. Do I think the bro split body part training is a good way to train for special forces? No, I do not. I think you need to have a more full body split. At least do upper body one day, lower body the next, and a crap ton of cardio. There's not too many Metcons or bodybuilding workouts that are going to get you through a day of Spec Ops training. Now, that's my opinion. I just don't think it's very effective because you're going to be doing a whole lot of movements that require multiple joints moving in succession together. Isolation exercises aren't necessarily what's going to work for you unless you're trying to build muscle and you're trying to do a cycle of lifting. There's nothing wrong with that, to do a hypertrophy cycle somewhere in your journey of training for Spec Ops. Let's say you're a 150-pound guy and you want to be a 175-pound guy. You need to gain 25 pounds somehow. The bodybuilding splits are a good way to do that. So they're hypertrophy. So my answer is yes and no, but it depends. You can't solely rely on bro splits like that. Not at all. All right, let's see. You got my PST to sub. Let me see. Sorry, I got my phone here all jacked up. Sub 8, 85, 85, 20, sub 8. Nice. Damn, that's hauling. Good job, Gabe. Heading to MEPS in a couple of weeks. Any advice for what I should once I hopefully contracted? Yeah, you're going to contract with that score. That's really good as long as you're doing good form on everything. Big thing there for you would be to once you're in the delayed entry program, take your PSTs whenever you can, usually every couple of weeks. If you have to skip one and do it only once a month a few times during your delayed entry program, that happens. I would just focus on getting through the training. Those scores will get you to the training. Now we just have to get to the training through the training by 4-mile time runs and 2-mile swims with fins and learning to ruck. And, depending on your body weight, athletic background, you may need to add some lifts in there too, just to be a little stronger for the first 5 weeks of BUDS, where it's a lot of load bearing boats, logs, rucks, Hell Week, all of those things require some durability. What are some good options for refueling during the PST? You know what? That's a really good question. I've written a couple articles about it called the PST transition, like in between all those little breaks you have. I would just personally just sip on something that you like, so that has sugar in it. So for me, I like whatever red flavored Gatorade is available, or Powerade even. I will sip on that during during PSTs, and that has been very helpful. What it prevents you from doing is burning out all your glycogen and blood sugar during the swim and the PTs, and then bonking on the run. You'll have a better run, as long as you're not pounding it, because there's the other problem. You pound it, you're going to be throwing up during the run probably. So just sip it. Maybe between the beginning and the end of your PSTs, sip maybe half a bottle of Gatorade or something. But find something that you like, because the last thing you want to do is not be able to drink this and not have an upset stomach. So it shouldn't be something you first tried on your PST. You should be practicing this during the process to find what fueling works for you. So one day you have a really good day and you crush the workout. Go back 24 hours and figure out what you ate and drank that day, how you slept, all of that, and see what that process is. That may be a good testing process for you that you need to replicate, every time you test. So that's what I do. What are some good? Oh, just read that one. Sorry. What's your take on juvenile felonies that have been expunged for 3 years? Hey, if it's expunged and it allows you to get into the military, go for it. We're all human, make mistakes. But in a time when it is competitive to get into the military, that may be a problem. It's going to require a moral waiver, more than likely. So those are pretty challenging to get. So let's go over here back to Instagram here. Thanks. Glad you like my challenge coins back there. All right. I keep hearing the SEAL teams are full. How's that going to affect the enlisted side? Great question, because everybody's talking about this and they're not making any sense when they do. Here's the deal. When they say that the SEAL teams are full, that doesn't mean they're not taking new people, because the SEAL teams have people retire and get out every week. So the amount of people that are getting out of the SEAL teams has to be replaced by that number. And usually they'll double that number of who gets in, because statistically speaking, over half will not make it. So if they need 250 SEALs every year, they're going to bring in, well over 500, probably even 750 to get 250 SEALs. So even when it's full, there's still opportunities for you to join the teams. Now, it's just, yes, it's full. COVID caused some problems with some backups. They're moving prep from Great Lakes over to the West Coast there in Coronado. So there's some changes going on that may affect how things go with you getting in, and the pipeline that's, pretty smooth flowing. But in the end, they're still giving out contracts. I have guys getting contracts every day. And right now, just had a guy get a contract and he's not shipping out till October. Had a guy get a contract 2 weeks ago and he's shipping out. No, a little more than 2 weeks ago, about a month ago, and he's shipping out in May. So they're moving people, but here's the deal. You have to have really good scores. They're not taking anything less than auto qual or highly competitive scores to go anymore, which I was really shocked that they were taking less than competitive scores anyway. So anyway, that's another. So I'm glad they're doing what they're doing. It should be competitive, right? Maybe you'll have less quitters. You know, that'd be nice. Good question though. What's your experience about working with boat guys? Yeah, you know what? I like and back in my day, they weren't SWIC. They were special boat unit. Yeah, we did some stuff with those guys. They were fun. I also was on the SDVs too. So that's another, you know, specialty SEAL job as well. I think they're all fun. You know, they're good times. How does your new 3-to-1 weight PST book differ from your other books? Just by that title alone, 3-to-1. Typically, my strength cycles would be a 12 or usually 12-week cycle during a winter lift cycle that's focused purely on strength with some maintenance for cardio. Like we'll run a little bit, but we'll swim a lot. We'll do calisthenics to warm up, you know, to kind of maintain your PT scores. But the whole 12-week block was strength. And there'd be weeks in the middle where we'd have to like just kind of do a deload week because we're just burned out and no one's making any progress. And everybody gets stuck in this little plateau. Not everybody, but some. So this is what I recommend. If you have my other programs and you don't feel like buying another program, just do the winter lift cycle or like tactical strength or Navy SEAL weight training workout for 3 weeks and then go back to Navy SEAL fitness for a week. Or go back to calisthenics and cardio program or the spring summer cycle. You know, all it is 3 weeks of strength followed by 1 week of PST training. So the thing that's different about this program is I did not do a progression or regression of running. A lot of times my annual cycle goes like this big bell curve of running. So in the summer, we're peaking here, you know, 25, 35 miles a week. And then we dip back down in the winter, drop it down to about 10. However, this winter we were lifting outside and we were cold. So we kept the running up a little higher just to stay warm. And right now, that program is set at like 15 to 20 miles a week during the winter lift cycle. And it wasn't too bad. It's a lot of quarter mile stuff. It wasn't like long distance running. It was mostly goal pace stuff where, you know, every set you go run a quarter mile or a half mile just to, like I said, just to stay warm because we were working out outside. But it was fun. It was a really good cycle for everybody. What workout is effective for a busy person that's training for Spec Ops? Or should I do burpees for 30 minutes? No, that's doing burpees for 30 minutes will get you good at doing burpees for 30 minutes. You need a system that works all the elements of fitness: strength, power, speed, agility. Muscle stamina and endurance are probably number 1 and number 2 because it will be a lot of cardio and PT, high repetition calisthenics that you need to get really good at during the selection phase. After that, your programming is going to change. So that's why I always talk about when tactical fitness, there's 3 phases of tactical fitness. First phase, you got to get to the training by crushing a PT test. Second phase, you have to prepare specifically for what you are about to endure. You know, a 30-minute burpee test, I don't think that's very effective because I haven't heard of a 30-minute burpee test that's going to keep you in, that someone has to pass. You got to ruck for 30 minutes more. You got to run for 30 minutes. You got to swim for 30 minutes. Got to be able to do a grinder PT for over 30 minutes. There's a lot of other things that you can do with 30 minutes of time besides burpees. Maybe you're just being, you know, sarcastic with that question, but my suggestion would be to find a program that works all the elements of fitness because you have to get good at all of them. Otherwise, you're not going to be durable. You're not going to be able to endure the the load-bearing events that are in these training programs, and you're not going to have the work capacity to be able to handle the long days of training and running in high rep calisthenics. There you go. I'll put an article in there that talks about those phases of tactical fitness for you in the description of this YouTube video, and you guys can check that out in more detail. Let's see, how to get my sit-ups to increase my PST. You know what? I've always been at the, I don't like sit-ups. However, I do them only because people have to get tested in them. Whenever they quit doing sit-up tests, I probably will never write about sit-ups again. So if you're going to get tested in them, you need to practice them, and you need to build certain amount of muscle stamina to do them. Now, yes, it is a hip flexor and ab exercise, right? You're going to work your hips probably a lot more than your abs. So get good at hip flexor movements, flutter kicks, leg levers, scissors, hanging knee ups. All of those are great little ways to actually get better at sit-ups without doing sit-ups. Then you need to find your pace on sit-ups. So if you want 80 in 2 minutes, you need to go start off slow and go with 20 in the first 30 seconds. Then you do 40 in a minute, right? In 2 minutes, you got 80, right? So it's a pacing drill. It's very similar to running, right? When you're running that 1.5 miles, the last thing you want to do is sprint the first quarter mile in 60 seconds. You know, that's a 4-minute mile pace. Most people can't maintain that pace for 6 laps. So pull it back a notch and get yourself a 90-second quarter. That'll get you a 3-minute half mile, a 6-minute mile, a 9-minute mile and a half. So you got to train to get that kind of stamina to be able to maintain that pace for whatever distance you're doing. Same for sit-ups. You need to train 20 every 30 seconds. 20 every 30 seconds. Should be like clockwork. You know, eventually 20 every 30 seconds will turn into 40 every 60 seconds. And then 40 in a minute will be 80 in 2 minutes. You know, same for 25. If you want 100, you got to do 25 every 30 seconds. It's a pace. Where most people screw up is they get 35, you know, in the first 30 seconds, and then they don't get 35 in the next minute and a half. What's that tell you? Oh, they bonked, and now, you know, they failed the test or didn't meet the standard. So just by slowing down that first 30 seconds, you can improve your score. I used to have people fail the Naval Academy sit-up test. I think it was 65. You had to get 65 for the minimum score. If you didn't get 65, you failed, and you had to take remedial training. And the next day, we'd give the PST again, or PFT, and I say, here's what you got to do. Just pace yourself. And, you know, they'd come in the next day and get 80, right? I didn't make them stronger in 24 hours, just made them smarter. Pace yourself. That's the key. So sorry for the long answer, but, you know, like I said, I don't like sit-ups, but at the same time, you got to get tested in them. Army got rid of them, and they added the hanging knee up, well, the leg tuck, where you got to do a pull up and bring your knees to your elbows. Man, that's pretty tough. It's pretty good. Let's see. Let's go back to YouTube here. I'm not really comfortable swimming without goggles. How do I become comfortable without them? Well, you got to get in the water and practice without them for a little while. Doesn't have to be swimming. It could just be go underwater, touch the bottom, come back up, you know, bottom bounce. You got to get used to it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been swimming pretty much all my life, not competitively. We had masks, we had goggles. We didn't have mask or goggles. It's just something you got used to. Is it annoying? Yeah, it's annoying to swim without goggles or mask, but you just got to relax and practice it. Wish I had a better answer for you. I just don't. Got an 8:20 swim the other day following your 50-50 workout. Hey, Jackson, that's awesome. How long did that take you, by the way? Where'd you come from? I've seen guys go from like 10 minutes to 8 minutes in about 4 weeks by doing that 50-50 workout about 5 days a week. So yeah, 25 times. If you do that 50-50 workout 25 times, you could probably drop your CSS score by 50 or by a minute to 2 minutes, depending on your technique. Got to get the technique down though first. 50-50 workout's a free workout. It is, if you Google Stu Smith 50-50 CSS workout, it'll pop up. Just an article. Works real easy. You swim, you go in, you warm up with 500 yards nonstop. That can be freestyle, CSS mix, up to you. The 50-50 part is you repeat 10 times, swim freestyle, fast, hard, get winded for 50 meters. And then you go right into a 50 CSS for 50 meters, but try to get your goal pace, even though you're winded. And what that's going to do is that's going to help you tremendously. One, getting used to swimming while you're tired and getting used to learning that technique while you're tired and reinforcing proper technique while you're tired. And you'll get a lot better at it. Not only technique gets better, but your conditioning gets better. And next thing you know, you're swimming 8 minutes. Easy day. So let's see. How do you deal with neck compression from boats on heads at buds? You know what? It just happens. I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, I played football for years and I wrestled. So, you know, having a strong neck was part of sports training. Maybe that helps, but not really sure. But yeah, you can work your neck muscles. Zane says, so CrossFit won't help. I didn't say that. All I said was bro splits probably won't help. Now, I did write an article about using CrossFit to prepare for Spec Ops training, because I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten saying, hey, I do CrossFit. Will that help me for Spec Ops training? I tell people all the time, there's no CrossFit workout or Metcon or whatever 30-minute gym workout that's going to prepare you for a day of Spec Ops training. Now, can you do it as a warm-up before the rest of your training? Absolutely. You know, so you can do a CrossFit workout, then you can go do your calisthenics, and then you can go add in some running and swimming. And yes, that will help you get through Spec Ops training. Throwing a ruck in there too. You know, CrossFit alone will not. So ask your question the way you want it answered. Is probably a better way to ask that than just saying CrossFit won't help. Let's see. Any tips for CCT for Air Force on swimming? Yeah, I got a lot of tips. You know, books worth of them. You need to follow some swim videos and practice. There's a tip. But, you know, to be honest with you, there are no tips. There's no secret sauce to this. You need to practice and learn technique and conditioning. That's it. So Scott says, I taught him to do the CSS through the videos. Got a SWIC contract. Good job. Nice work. Glad that helped you. Recently realized you have an awesome podcast. Okay, thanks. Glad you like the podcast. Yeah, there's a podcast I do called Tactical Fitness Report. Spotify, for some reason, doesn't have them from 118 prior. All of my podcasts are on YouTube, though. So if you're missing the podcast, you can find them all on YouTube. Episodes 1 through 203, I think. We do. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's up with Spotify, why they only have the second half of them. Okay, so here's another one. This is a big one. Having left the SO pipeline, I've been told that my year group for my class might be done and that the teams are completely full. Is this accurate? So I just answered that question a minute ago. Teams are full. They don't need to grow. So when they say they're full, they don't need to grow. However, they need to replace everyone that gets out or retires. So that is significant amount of people that are still getting in the pipeline. However, if you don't make it through buds and you're trying to get back into buds, here's the big kicker. Your year group, the group of people that made it through the pipeline, they're still going to be in probably for the next 4 years. And your ability to get back in there when they're full is almost impossible. So you get out, you might not be able to go out until those guys start getting out of the Navy. So think about that whenever you're cold, wet, dark, lonely, and in pain, right? You may not get back. You may not get that opportunity to come back. So yes, they still need to replace people that leave. So that number is significant every year, but year groups are full. That sucks for people. I can't tell you how many Navy guys have tried to get back and they had everything done. PSTs were killer and they just could not go back because their year group was full. That means the year you join the Navy, they have no room for new people until people start getting out. And that's typically 4 to 5 years later. Now, some years they don't fill all the needs that they have. So there may be holes in there that they can put in people with a lateral transfer into those year groups. But that's you're lucky if that can happen. So yeah, there's other issues between people not being able to get back. And I tell you, most of those guys that don't go back, they go Army SF and crush it. I went to a recent Green Beret graduation, and I met probably 20 people that were former Navy that couldn't get to buds. Not that they couldn't. They joined the Navy thinking that they could lateral transfer into the Navy, but their year group was full and they couldn't. So they had to do their 4 years in the Navy and then get out, went Army, and became SF guys. So don't fall for that one either. You need to go straight into the SO pipeline right out of the recruiter's office. And to do that, you need to crush the PST or you're not going. So don't even talk to a recruiter until you can crush the PST. And that is my opinion, right? But it's based on the fact that you won't get accepted if you're not. So there you go. But yeah, you guys got to check out my opinion from fact article. It's a good one. Stu Smith Fitness. Read the article section. Man, there are so many questions here. I appreciate it. All these questions, I can't get to them all. So I'm going to try. So if you can, just cut and paste your question into the description or to the comment section, or email me or DM me on Instagram, because otherwise I'm not going to get to this one. Okay. Am I able to contract on the first PST? I've heard some people say you need to complete 3 before you contract for some reason. Just got to be good. I mean, it depends. You know, it depends on what recruiting district you're in. We had a guy just contracted his first PST here. A couple of them did. So, but then a couple of them, you know, sometimes they're hard on you on that first PST. They really grade you super strict. They may take off 10 pull-ups, and so now you don't, you know, meet the auto qual score, because you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Just see how you handle negative feedback, come back stronger, come back better form. But yeah, it doesn't matter if you're crushing the PST on your own, and when you get there, it may take 1 or 2, but it doesn't matter. What's the difference of 2 weeks? Right. Yeah, pools are open. Most places anyway. Okay, everybody's saying I keep hearing SEAL teams are full. Okay, great. They're full. Just listen to the previous part if you missed that, because I've already talked about that twice. How do I get proper recovery equipment while at BUD/S? Also, is it possible to use 12 weeks of BUD/S, then the weightlifting book, and then take the PST? Yeah, of course. You can do it that way. 12-week to BUD/S, there's probably a PST every 4 weeks in the book program, and complete in the Navy SEAL weight training one, yeah, has PSTs in it as well. But it just depends on your weakness. You know, if your athletic history is strength and power, like a football player, I would avoid the weight training program and just focus on the 12 weeks to BUD/S program, because that's all calisthenics and cardio. You don't necessarily need it if you're already deadlifting, squatting, and benching, 1,000 to 1,500 pound combined. Last thing you need is more strength. You need to focus on your endurance and muscle stamina. All right, let's see what Nick has to say here. 6'1", 195. Hey, good. That's what I was when I was going through BUD/S. 853 on the run, on the swim. 60, 70, 11. Not good on the PT. 930 run. Not bad. Just entered depth. Took my first official PST. Do height and weight factor into competitive standard? No. ASFAB score, you need to just pass it. I don't deal with ASFABs. Just whatever the standards are, get through that. Yeah, good thing is, at your height and weight, if you can lose weight, if it's not all muscle, I would focus on your PST scores. Do a lot of PT pyramids every other day. Get some volume up. That's going to help you get, 80 to 100 pull-ups or push-ups and sit-ups and 20 pull-ups pretty quickly. So the cardio is what really kills people on those. So you're pretty good there. Try to get your run closer to 9. And then once you pass that PST, you really need to start focusing on 4-mile runs and swimming with fins for 1 to 2 miles, building up to that, and then rucking. But yeah, you got a pretty good height weight ratio to where you're not going to get crushed under a boat and log. So at least how it was for me. Running was hard though. So make sure your 4-mile timed run is at that 7-minute mile pace. That's what I would recommend. So proper recovery equipment. Sorry, I didn't answer that question earlier. You can bring your foam rollers and massage tools and whatever to BUD/S. Just ask Amazon, they'll mail it to you. Let's see. Okay, people are answering questions, not asking questions. That just causes me to delay in me reading all your comments. How much harder is the officer route than the enlisted route? 10 times harder. It is. Because they need 10 times as many enlisted as they do officers. So, and it's longer too. You may be spending another year getting through that candidate pipeline, because you got to go through SFAS and then you got to go through OCS, or unless you're ROTC or Naval Academy, then the process is a 4-year drawn out process for you. It's just harder. So do you think training power and speed is valuable for BUD/S? Sure, especially if you're weak. You need some strength, power, speed. But you're not going to get timed in any 40-meter dash or, a powerlifting movement. You're going to get graded on long days of work, lots of running, lots of swimming, lots of treading, lots of high rep calisthenics. And yes, during the first 5 weeks, there will be some boats and logs that are pretty heavy that you have to be able to endure. So that's where your strength, power, and speed too, because you'll be running with boats pretty fast. So yeah, I don't think it needs to be focused on that much, but it's definitely more of a endurance and muscle stamina process than anything else, though you need the basic strength for pure durability purposes so you don't break. What's a good run time make up for decent swim time in the PST? My 1.5 miles is 7:30, but my swim time is 9:30. That's not bad. I mean, I think that's a great run time. What I would also suggest is a lot of times when people have those really fast run times, like that 5-minute mile run time that you have there, it comes at a cost of body mass and strength. So make sure you are also strong. The swim time can be fixed with some technique and just a little more swimming conditioning. That's all. Do that 50-50 workout and you'll be 8 minutes flat in no time. But yeah, make sure your strength and your calisthenics are solid as well. What's been your experience working with candidates who have a strong swim background? What weaknesses do they most often have? We did a whole podcast on this. Swimming athletes have problems with gravity, period. The running impact forces nail their feet and shins and tendons. They are often subject to stress fractures when they start running too much, too soon, and just lifting. Most of them aren't very strong in the weight room as well. Swimmers, you ever seen a swimmer do an agility ladder on land? That's actually kind of comical. But no, I'm just teasing. But yeah, pretty much gravity, anything related to gravity is going to affect the swimmer. Unless, that swimmer also does other sports in his history of maybe he ran or did triathlons or, something else like that. But you just got to get used to the impact forces of gravity. Let's see. Unlike any other stroke with CSS, I get water in my nose and middle ear. I can't do it without a nose clip or a mask. Is that normal? It's normal. I'm not sure how to fix that though. I mean, I'm constantly shaking out water in my ear after I go swimming, whether I'm swimming freestyle or CSS. But I don't ever get water up my nose, even with goggles. You got it. And when your nose is underwater, I would suggest exhaling out of it. That way water won't go in it. And then just turn to breathe to inhale. I don't know. It's going to take some practice for you there, Sharif. All right. A few more questions here. People are asking, what do auto qual scores look like? You can go to sealswick.com. You'll see the recommended scores you need. Some of these questions are easily referenced by just asking the Google machine. Calves are getting really tight when running and ankles seem to swell up too. Is this common? If so, what do I need to do to fix it? Good question. I don't know. I probably need to see how you're running first. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't know. Maybe you're running on your toes, and ankles are kind of unstable when you do that. It just depends on how you're running. It's hard to answer that one. How effective do you think it is to combine CrossFit and triathlon training in relation to buds? That's better, aside from eating, sleeping, and recovery. Yeah, I think triathlon training is great. In fact, I was you guys have heard me say it, powerlifting football player before I decided to do this. And it was a long transition of, I didn't lift at all actually. All I did was do calisthenics and triathlon training. So I ran, swam, biked, which was very helpful because I really wasn't able to run a lot. So half of my runs were, or half of my run time, I would spend biking, so I wouldn't run too much and get injured. And then swimming is obviously a non-impact activity that didn't hurt my joints. And then I just did high rep calisthenics for probably about 18 months to transition out of a, deadlift, squat, bench machine, and anything over 100 meters was long distance type athlete. It took some time. So, but yeah, I mean, that's not a bad option. I would also add in some specifics to what, BUD/S requires: rucking, 4-mile timed runs, 2-mile swims with fins. So any swims you do for a longer distance than 500, you should put on a pair of fins, I would think. Thoughts on Jake Zwig's workout program? I don't know anything about it. I haven't seen it. I know he's kind of new to the process and he may have a plan. He definitely has a lot of opinions out there that may or may not apply to you. So once again, read that article I just wrote, because, I see a lot of opinions out there and people ask me about it. And I said, I don't know. It depends. What kind of athlete are you? What's your PST scores? What's your goal? What are the, there's so many what ifs, and it depends that I can ask that I could give you a better opinion based on some more information. A blind opinion, may not apply to you. So it may, but that's kind of like rolling the dice and guessing. But yeah, read that article, latest article, Stu Smith Fitness article section. It's basically distinguishing opinions from facts. Maybe it will help you figure that out. Tactical Fitness, best book I ever read. Well, thank you. Right there. Right that way. Yeah. That was a fun one to write. I wrote that after I heard the term tactical fitness. And I'm like, wait a second, I've been writing about tactical fitness for 10 years. And all I've been saying it was military, law enforcement, and firefighter fitness. Didn't really roll off the tongue. So once I heard tactical fitness, I was like, man, I could write the book on that one. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And that was 10 years ago. So glad you liked the book. Let's see. Used to be able to do 50 push-ups in a row very easily because I'm training with weight vests, but I stopped for a year. That's your problem. Shouldn't stop for a year. And I am intermediate to advanced training for 5 years and now have a hard time doing 25. What should I do? I don't know, Brian. That question's all over the place. My suggestion is get consistent with your training and only do push-ups every other day. I'm assuming you do other exercises besides push-ups. I would recommend that if you don't. So yeah, get on a program. In fact, I have an article called My 3 Favorite Workouts to Crush PT Tests. And it's a pyramid, a superset, and a max rep set workout. And you spread them out throughout the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday. And you crush that thing for several weeks. Next thing you know, you're crushing the PST on the PT side. Thoughts on guys who enter BUD/S at 25, 26, how they measure up? Oh, yeah. I think 25, 26 is perfect. I think 18, 19 is not perfect. You will hear me say countless times, and once again, that is my opinion. My opinion is that 18-year-olders have no business going to BUD/S. However, I am proven wrong by a few every year, and I'd say there's probably a handful every class that are remaining as graduates at 18 years old. However, if you look at the statistics, when my BUD/S class started, we had probably about 100 18-year-olds when we started, and when we graduated, we had 4 or 5 that finished. but we graduated with 28 people. So the older guys made it, but there is a fine line between, there's like this little bell curve, right? If you're 18 or 19, you have a very low chance of making it. You're 22, 23, 24, pretty high chance of making it. You're 25, 26, 27, 28, you have a low chance of making it. So there's this kind of a perfect window, statistically speaking. I'm not talking about, 100%. That's the way it is. I'm not being, trying not to be too dogmatic in my opinions, but I'm always proven wrong, and I'm glad I am. It's statistics. It's not 100% that 18-year-olds don't make it, and there's some 25, 26-year-olds that don't make it. So age I don't think is the issue necessarily. Statistically speaking, yes, it is, but going in at 25, 26 with, you're fully grown, you're mature, you've been training a lot longer, so your training life is better. But at the same time, you come in with probably more injuries, more baggage, got to deal with. Maybe even have a family, that is also something that is challenging. So there's a lot of reasons why people don't make it through, and it's not just age. So every time I come back from running, I feel like my muscles are torn. Ouch. And bones are weak, which gives me pain every time I run and my feet hit the ground. But whew, you're probably a heavy runner. That's just my guess. I know when I'm at my heaviest after a lift cycle, running is not pleasant for me. In fact, I made it a note probably about 5 years ago that I was not going to try to gain weight anymore during my lift cycles, and I actually try to maintain or even lose weight during my lift cycles, because anytime I run over 215, it hurts. 225 was awful. So what I decided to do is I'm just going to go back to my buds weight at 195 and just stay there for the rest of my life, because that was, I think about it, that's when I quit growing. It's probably my natural weight. Anything above that is not really a natural weight that I need. It's just kind of fun to get strong and get big or fat, whatever happens to you after you quit growing. A lot of us just get overweight because we eat like we were still trying to gain weight, even when we're 30. So, yeah, you sound like a heavy runner. So I would suggest losing weight and maybe mixing in some more non-impact cardio activity and a mobility day. You need to work on some mobility. All right, so there's a ton of questions here that I'm not going to get to, and I, once again, really apologize. These are great questions too, so I'm going to go through these and try to at least put an article that I've written on. I see a lot of them are article topics that I've already written. I'll put that article in the description on this YouTube page, and you guys can check out those articles, or you can try to Google your question with my name in it and see if I've written an article about it. I have written over 1,000 articles over the years, so probably closer to 1,200 now. So the chances are I've written something about your question. May not be specific enough to answer it, but there may be something to help you. Try that, see if that works for you. I'm going to do one more question since I'm still under the hour. Let's see. One more question here. I'm going on Instagram here. All right. What would you recommend to take my pull-ups from 11 to 16 or 17? So I would do this. I would stop doing daily pull-ups if you're doing daily pull-ups. You're only going to grow by some amount of recovery. Now, if you're younger, 24-hour recovery may be good for you, but as you get older, you might need 36, 48 hours before you're actually doing another high volume, heavy weight workout to recover. All right. So just for kind of like a standard, let's just do pull-ups every other day. First day of the week, you do them with a pyramid workout. Second day, you do them with a sub-max effort, multiple sets, like, do 5 pull-ups, 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 10 dips, 10 rounds of that. See if you can go for more than 10 rounds even. And then on Friday or Saturday, maybe Saturday, give yourself another day of recovery. Try the max rep set workout. You should be doing that one once a week anyway. And what you'll see is that you will start crushing your growth. I've seen a lot of people get stuck at 15 for months, and then in about 4 to 6 weeks, we're over 20 by just adding that max rep set workout in it. I have an article called "The 3 Favorite Workouts I Use to Crush PT Tests." It is in there. If you Google that, you'll see it. It's on my Stu Smith Fitness website. So in fact, I post about it on Instagram all the time. So you probably have seen a few of those stories on there about it. All right. So terribly sorry, folks. I do need to go. I got an article deadline I have to do today. If you guys have any more questions, once again, I answer my emails. So email me. If you go over to StuSmithFitness.com, check out the articles link. I have a code for you if you want to save 15% on anything. Military 15 saves you 15%. Military 15 saves you 15%. So sorry I missed your question once again. Please send it. I will answer it. I will chat with you guys later.